I'm going to have to turn the radio off because I've got my Jewish church. Is that alright? You don't mind?
Yes, please.
Hiya, Michael.
Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning. Good Shabbat Shalom. Good to see you. It's always good when the service leader's here early.
Yes, well, it's a bit unusual for me, but
Oh, well, I don't know the big main reputation. But then I start to panic when Joseph or the chorister turns up late and thinking, oh gosh, am I going to have to sing?
oh, I wouldn't want to inflict that on you.
No, I wouldn't want to flick that on the congregation, to be honest.
So I'm planning to do a little bit of singing this morning because the Shabbat is called Shabbat Shirah, the Sabbath of Song. So,
all right, hey, that's good, so fine.
yeah, we're gonna have some extra music, I think.
That will go down very well, really, because that's what we were actually saying at our Rights and Practices meeting this week, that the singing, and that's kind of always been our strong point.
Yeah, very. I mean, it's limited on Zoom, of course, but people can still join in even if we can't hear everyone.
Yeah, here. Well, we have had a couple. We alternate with in-person services now.
So tell me how they're going.
Very well. It's hybrid, so that's a good thing. So there's a big Zoom. We had about like last week. We had 10 people on. We had a minion on Zoom, as well as about 13 people in the actual room. They were able to have two choristers, where Joseph and the accompaniment, and to actually hear people singing together.
Yeah,
It just. I know that's how it used to be, but it felt in a nice way strange. And when I went up to the bimmer, I could sing people, and me having a service where I'm not pressing buttons all the time and muting and unmuting, and but what was good, we included the Zoom people as well.
Oh yeah, no, that's great when you can do that.
Yeah, because those people that just couldn't, for practical reasons or understandably, just didn't really feel safe doing it. So it's fully respectful of.
So could they be seen on a screen in the?
Yes, we were able to see them, but not just see them, include them.
Yeah, excellent, excellent.
So as if they were as much as possible. So Rachel had to keep her eye on them on that screen as well as the real congregation.
Who
I mean,
set up all that for you?
and we have techie guys doing it. We've got experts, so we've got somebody putting knobs behind the scene, and we have to remember that if I was speaking, I had to speak into the microphone. I'm not actually shouting at the screen. I had to go up to front of the microphone to do it. So I'm trying to talk to people in front of their screen, but obviously that didn't work because it had to be where it was tuned in. And we're doing this for now every other week, slowly but
Very good.
slowly.
And
Yeah.
I see from the newsletter you're doing some of the care work now as well.
Yes. Oh God. Oh God. You don't miss. But yeah, it's just the way it's gone because well, Esther, who's doing it for 4 years, sort of like kind of basically was looking to do different things, which is fair enough. And she gave 3 months' notice to get a replacement, but that never happened. And basically, because of my background, I kind of, you talk yourself into a job when I didn't want it, I didn't seek it. But I'll say, well, who's going to do it now? And well, we're
So
looking at
what's your
it.
background?
Right, okay, social services.
Right.
I'm a carer. I don't even know the background to my mother-in-law, who I'm the primary carer for, and I'm also a qualified counsellor.
Very good.
And I'll be honest, I really actually enjoy what I do because I'm actually speaking to members who I haven't spoken to for ages. Then we've obviously got a membership list, and it's really great to engage with them. And there's some incredible people in our community. Like I spoke to a 91-year-old yesterday, very worried, lives alone, widowed, lives alone, got a big house. And I said, well, how about food? Oh, I do shopping online. I said, what, does your son help you? No, I do it myself.
Very good.
Yeah, that was how
Anna.
resourceful. She said she can't get out, but she can still. She's tech savvy, so sometimes we underestimate what our elderly people
Absolutely.
can.
So does Mosaic as a whole have a care worker at the moment?
No, well, how it should work, and this is the pattern we're building. Maybe we're all in one building. It might work this way. Basically, coincidentally, the reform care coordinator uh, resigned as well, or so there's a big gap. So I think we're looking to recruit two, and how we should do it, not based on okay, one for Liberal and one for Reform. I believe it should be one for all communities, and obviously report back to that rabbi. That's the only sort of
It should
distinguishing
be.
thing.
I was in the very first meeting, actually. When was it? Oh, gosh. About 2015, about 7 years ago, where we were going to bring together the care groups from the different Mosaic.
Yes. Oh, right. Yeah, because you were involved in Coal High then, is that
I
right?
was involved in Coal High, so we were
Yeah.
in merger discussions, which unfortunately didn't work out for us.
No, yeah, shame.
But you know, I was one of the rabbinic team for a while for Mosaic as part of that. And it was quite an exciting meeting, very positive actually. This one about bringing together the care teams and having a professional.
It still hasn't happened though, but it's you had all these wonderful, and that's something as part of when somebody is permanently in place.
Yeah.
This is the model we need to work towards. So the handovers, obviously, because I can only deal with the Liberal members who I know, but I'm going to say, look, you'll probably get two people with different skill sets. So it'll be a case of more what your skill set is as opposed to what community they're from. And also we've got to include the Mazorti in that as well, which are a smaller community. So, I mean, that just makes perfect sense. I don't think it should, with care, I don't think it really matters what community you're in, the needs are the same.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an obvious thing to combine, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's the easy out of all the things. I'll say it's the easiest thing. I mean, I could understand some joint services are different because of what the liturgy doesn't always work for one community, or it can work in some festivals. Hanukkah work well, but some even the Shabbat service would be difficult because they're just done in different ways. But
Yes,
we are looking to do as much as possible. This big dream.
But with the care team also, if you're working together, you can put on events from time to time. Like, you want to have an event for maybe people who've been bereaved recently, or
which we do. It's called Cameo. That's something we do.
You have that. Yeah,
you have that where it is actually, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And it has been we're looking to do that in person, but it's now stopped. We're having tea afternoons as well, which
Good.
unfortunately so there is, and that is completely non-binary.
So that already happens, that side of it. Yeah, good.
Yeah, so that is there. It's just the actual care teams.
The visiting and so on.
It is, but that is still work in progress. The good thing is, I'm now in a position I've got more empowered to actually, rather than suggest it, I can actually proactively work towards this model. I think people are kind of protective over their own communities, but anyway, we'll see how it goes. So you still get the newsletter, which I'm pleased to say, is that right?
I'm on the online mailing list for Mosaic. I get the weekly email.
Oh right, that's good. So you. And we got Joseph is in the room.
Excellent.
Here we go. Well, I can't remember. When it comes, hi Joseph. When it comes to the sermon, I normally like to spotlight. Is that you don't have an issue with that? So
that's
you're
fine.
literally.
There is one techie thing though.
Yeah.
With Zoom, because Zoom does funny things with sound.
Oh gosh, tell me about it.
It's always the sound on Zoom. So I've got original sound off at the moment, which is the default for talking.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to remember to switch it. Let me switch it now. So original sound is now on. I don't know if it actually sounds any different to you, but I need it for singing, because with original sound off for singing, it distorts the voice.
Okay, fine.
So
where does the trial run?
Yeah.
Anyway, have a go. Joseph, oops. I've got good news for you, Joseph. Shabbat Shalom. Michael's going to be doing quite a bit of singing today, so.
We've discussed it.
Oh, you've already discussed it. Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh, that's good to hear. So you're
great.
So
So actually, the bit we didn't discuss, Joseph, I'm going to do the Shirat Hayam with the Sephardi melody for the Torah reading.
Right.
But I thought I'd also do the Sephardi Ashrei Psalm, which comes in service one.
Okay, so I won't sing that.
Well, I need you to do. I think for you to top and tail it is good.
Oh, so I'll sing. Okay, fine.
I just sing the psalm bit.
Nice. And will you chant Yishtabak after that, or do I do that?
No, could you do that one, please?
Sure.
Good morning, Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, Anya. Our regular from France, from Eurostar.
On Eurostar.
Eurozoom.
See you.
So that's good. I haven't actually arranged to have Torah reader, but I will probably do it unless somebody comes on and is willing.
Okay, so we could do with a few more readers as well.
Yeah. Well, Vanya, have you got your Siddur with you?
Yes, of course.
So Vanya normally likes.
I never go out without my Siddur.
Yeah. so I think. Well, we'll see.
If you've got a long text, I like it. I practice for my bat mitzvah. Not in Hebrew.
She doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't look 13, does she?
When's your bat mitzvah, Rania?
Sorry.
When is your bat mitzvah?
Well, hopefully this year or next year.
Good.
Yeah, I'm only 12. All
right. Okay. It's always good to do whenever.
Yes.
So it'd be nice to have some people for the community prayers.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, with the Will family and the country's leaders, that needs to be a strong prayer, because they're in. I don't really want to get started on the subjects, but
well, I'll do it if you want, because I like your Boris, as you know.
Oh gosh, don't get me started. But we'll see. We'll wait.
Well, unfortunately, politics has become satire.
It has been, yeah. I'd say a farce in my opinion, but hey, a comedy farce, I would say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, welcome, Mark.
Oh, thanks, Kevin. Yeah. It's a silly question. What do you think about this so-called 2 extra parties from Downing
Don't
Street?
get me well. I'll leave my opinions to myself because I'm worried I might say something inappropriate on the Sabbath. Yeah, they're all God's creatures, so let's try and be forgiving to them. But it's a well.
Yes, it's too silly. I think it's it's too silly.
Yeah, I know. It's brought up all sorts of issues, and it's enraged quite a lot and brought up certain emotions. So we'll wait to sort of more people here, then we can do the best. I will probably do the Haftorah. We normally like somebody to do the Torah translation and the blessings. That's just sort of a new minhag we have. But we'll just see who's here first. And there's nothing wrong if you just want to pick on someone, or we do that. It makes sure everyone's sort of awake, or leave it open for any volunteers. And we do, I think I've mentioned we like to do a healing prayer as well, but I think you normally introduce that.
Right, thanks for reminding
Oh,
me.
right, okay, I get because you've done a few in the past.
Yeah, but
You need, yeah.
I go to other places as well. And
You didn't ask my permission. How dare you? Yeah, but we like at some stage. The only time we don't like a healing prayer is just before Kaddish because it looks like one leads to the other. So,
Yes.
yeah.
It's to go after the congregation prayers.
Yeah, okay, that's kind of like when we normally do. It varies, but that's normally a good time.
Kevin and Michael, sorry, is it possible to, if nobody else do it, could I do the blessing and the Haftarah translation?
You could do the Haftarah. I'll share the screen. That's fine because I was going to do it, so that saves me.
Oh, but if you want, I mean.
No, I don't want. I'm not. No, I'm not happy for anybody to do it. It's just our fault. So what? I will share the screen. Well, I mean, I think you know how it works here. It is from the Safara website, and they don't use gender neutral language. So
sorry, I'm not sure about that. So what?
So when you see the word Lord, just change it to the eternal one. That's all you need to do.
Okay, I'll try to remember. Sorry if I make a mistake.
If you do, there'll be somebody who's got a hook, and they'll be dragging you off stage. Yep.
All right then.
Yeah. So, but okay, you're fine. That's fine. So that's the Haftorah sorted. Have you noticed my backdrop?
Yeah. So your back. So where does that come from?
Adrian ordered it. I think I know where it's going as
Oh
well
my
because
gosh, it's huge.
but unfortunately, it's a bit too big. Because Mum's in bed at the moment anyway. But if she has to get out of bed, it takes up too much room. So what I'm trying to do is take a photo of it and then get it as like a virtual. But I can't, like Joseph, I can't get the virtual thing. It comes out all fuzzy. But Stefan hopefully is going to help me. I've got to rely on some techie.
What's wrong with my virtual background? It's very nice.
There's nothing wrong with it. I said no.
It's in France, isn't it?
Okay, fine.
No, it's wonderful. I quite like them.
Always strange on Zoom. It's strange, Joseph, when you disappear into the boat.
Yeah, well, I've got to go.
Drowning.
Times when it gets broken. What are you going to do? Can I be a co-host, please? So I can...
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry, I normally do that from the outset.
Thanks very much.
That's my background.
Oh, love it.
Excellent.
What, did you show it again?
That's a surfboard. Here we go.
Surfing the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have got one point where I will need to share my screen.
I'll make you the co-host as well then.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be helpful.
More co-host than actual congregants at the
Very
moment.
generous with this sharing. give it to anyone.
Yeah, there. True life.
But, excuse me.
That's all right. Oh, we've got a few more. Oh, we've got Brigitte.
Yeah, I like your background, Kevin.
Yeah, it's a bit inconvenient in the house. I just have.
Well, send it to me then if you don't want it.
I could send it. It is really bulky, really bulky. It's heavy. It's kind of one of these things that's very cumbersome. But it's all to do with the profile, to raise our profile. We're looking for new members, new young and trendy
Yes.
members. Hi Brigitte, and they sort of see the back, but it sort
Kevin.
of raises our profile, allegedly.
Hello, Brigitte.
Hello, Rania. How are you? Since last
Not too
night.
bad. And you?
Yes, lovely to see you.
Oh, well, you're both at the service last night.
Yes, we were, and it was
Yes.
a lovely start of the service with Rania and Maria catching up with each other. It was terrific.
In what language?
In English,
French.
if you
No,
please.
sorry, in English. In English, but apparently we both worked in Bentals, but not at the same, not same year, obviously, but so we were sharing memories about Bentals in Ealing Broadway, which is now Primark.
All right.
But it's a shop called Bentals.
Yeah, it used. Well, yeah, I'm old enough to tell you that there was a shop called Bentals. Yes, in Ealing.
Okay.
Mental. So, did that affect your mental health?
Kevin.
That's not funny.
There
That one.
was also one in Kingston.
Oh.
Sorry.
Is
There
that
was
is that
also
Jamaica?
one in- No.
He's here all night and all day.
Oh, we got a lot. Hi, Maureen.
Hello,
Hi.
Janet.
I'm aware you've got a couple of yacht sites. I know that you tend to like to keep a little bit below profile, but would you like to do a small reading?
Yes.
How about this? I know Rania, but I'm going to give you the most pressured reading in the whole service today. The royal family are now leaders. I think if anyone could give them some inspiration, I hope you can. Would you like to do one? That will probably be the biggest mitzvah.
Yes, I will.
So I'm actually sorry, Rania, but I just like to give that one. Right. So Rania, you're doing the Haftorah, yep, on the screen share.
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay, that's good news. Thank you. Stephen's got the reading just in case it doesn't work for me. Sometimes it's got mind of its own, my screen share. How are you doing, Alan and Janet?
Yep, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Janet, can we have a sound check from you? Because I know you sometimes sound as if you're drowning.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, still.
Yeah.
You're still drowning.
You could come in here and do it from the desktop.
Oh dear.
So, well, it looks like we're going to get a minion.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom, Alan.
Yeah, but I'm looking for a volunteer. So we've got the Haftorah sorted, and we've got the prayer for the royal family. So, would anyone like to do the Torah blessings and translation? No rush.
I'm happy to do that if there's nobody else.
Yeah, okay. So that'll be on the screen share. So don't worry about knowing what page it is, and I'm sure we'll get an introduction to that. So,
what's your Hebrew name, Alan?
Avraham Ben Reuben.
Okay.
lovely. So that's that. So what have we got left? So we've got the community. Who would like to? Hi, George and Mary. Who would like to say a prayer for the community? Rania? Oh no, you didn't have to, aren't you, Rania? I think, is that George's hand I can see? Okay, thank you, George, for our community and our virtual community as well. So it just leaves us with Israel. Oh, that's Maureen. So Maureen's got Israel. And there is a chance, Michael, just to make sure you're awake, might just sort of say at some stage for somebody like to read from here. So that's all sorted.
Yes, is there anyone else who'd like a part?
It's not funny. It's not funny. My mother-in-law found that funny. I think she said it. It's not funny. Would anyone like a part? She found that hilarious. Don't be rude. Okay. Well, Stephen, would you like anything? If you just get picked on at some stage, you're fine with that, are you, Stephen?
Yeah, no problem.
So, Stephen, on page 105,
yeah,
would you read the prayer at the foot of that page, foot of the page, please?
Yes, okay.
Hi, welcome, Rosemary. Okay, and Rosemary, if Michael wants to, when I say pick on you, invite you to say a prayer, you're quite happy to do anything in English or in Hebrew if it's not too. So Rosemary's always happy to.
Excellent. Thank you, Rosemary.
And anyone else in the room, put your hand up now if you do. Janet loves to, but I think your sound's a little bit. Yeah. That's why it's nice seeing you in person last week. I could actually hear what you're saying. And that is a blessing. Adam might not agree, but I would.
I refrain from comment. Okay.
And welcome Paul in the background as well, Paul Hart and the Zaxes. So we got a minion. Hey. And we normally leave it about 2 or 3 minutes past in case there's any delays in the stairway or through roadworks in the kitchen area to your lounge. That's good to see you all. There's an echo from somewhere.
No, it's not me.
We always blame you, Rania, when something like this happens because you're French.
Blame the French.
We have to. That's a tradition.
I know.
Well, but then all that might offend Brigitte as well. Sorry about that. How anti. It's not. You're not.
When the echo go when everybody is muted, then probably the echo will disappear.
Yeah, exactly. So okay, and then obviously if that's the person who's doing reading, we can live with it. That's not major deal. So I think we're almost ready to start. Joseph, are you okay? Your sound okay?
Yeah, I think. Well, you tell me.
You just do it.
La 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 la. All right. Like it? Oh no,
that's fine.
Actually, my mic's nowhere near me. I just realised that, so I'll make it a bit better.
Yeah, maybe slightly louder.
Okay.
Yes, fine. And you obviously, Michael, you're okay with your sound because you'll be mixing from.
Well, the test is, can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Good. Loud
and clear. So let's go. So I'd like to give a warm welcome to Michael Hilton, who we've seen a few times before, and you have had a few links from this synagogue. I always like it when you remind us exactly how you're linked with our community from historically. So perhaps would you like to sort of introduce that bit?
Yes, well, I can certainly do that. My parents joined the community when it was time for me and my sister Rosemary to prepare for our confirmations. I had my confirmation with the 1966 group, and Rosemary, I think, with the 1968 group. And today is actually my sister Rosemary's yahrzeit. So it's rather special to be with you today and to remember the time that my family had with the community in the late 1960s.
Wow, gosh, well, that really is lovely that you're marking the occasion, and I really wish you strength, and hopefully it will be comforting the fact that you're leading the service under these circumstances at this time. So I'm going to ask everyone to please mute themselves. I won't do it myself. I'll let you do, apart from obviously Michael and Joseph. And we really look forward to your service, Michael. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Thank you very much, Kevin. It's lovely to see so many of you here. Looking forward to a great service. This is one of those Saturdays with a lot of different themes. We read from the Torah, the Song of Triumph after the Egyptian army were drowned in the sea, which reminds us of our past history as slaves and how liberation from Egypt has shaped our whole theology and history. And the Shabbat, when we read this section, is called Shabbat Shirah, which means the Sabbath of song, although the normal Hebrew word for a song is shir, the masculine form. Shirah seems to be more of a ballad, something perhaps a bit longer than a song or a narrative poem. So it's a Shabbat which many Jewish communities use to celebrate the role of music in the service. So we'll be having lots of singing today. And it's also the Shabbat before Tu B'Shvat, which is tomorrow night and Monday, the 15th of Shabbat, the New Year for trees. And of course, you have a mosaic-wide event, I know, tomorrow for that. So more of that later in the service. We will have a Tu B'Shvat section. But we're going to start straight away with service one, page 105 in your books, and we will sing Matovu.
Matovu Alecha Yaakov Mishknoteh Yisrael. Matovu Alecha Yaakov Mishknoteh Yisrael. Va'ani barov chazdecha avo V'techa eshtochave al chachal kodshecha be'yiratecha
Adonai, ahavti ma'on beitecha, v'mekom mishkan kavotecha, va'ani eshtachaveh v'echra'a, evracha lifnei Adonai osi, va'ani tefilati lacha, Adonai et ratzon, Elohim berov chazdecha, aneni be'emet yishecha. And I'd like to invite Stephen, please, to read the next prayer.
As we say the prayers of our ancestors, help us, O God, to remember their faith and devotion, their joy and suffering, and make us worthy of our heritage. May the tradition we have received live in us and pass from us to generations we shall never know, enriched by the truth we have found and the good we have done. So may we fulfill our task on earth and receive our blessing.
Shabbat shalom to you, Stephen. And we're going to go on to Shah Avakeshacha on page 106, a lovely song for the morning.
Shah Avakesha Suri Umiskabi Eroglafanecha Shakri Vagam Abi Livne Gadulatak Emod Vaebahel אין חתירי כל מחשבות ליבי. מה זה אשר יוכל הלב הלשון לעשות ומה כוח רוחי בתוך קרבי. הנה לך תיטב זמרת אנוש כן עוד אך ועוד תקרא נשמת אלוהי.
And we come now to the Pazuke de Zimra section of the service, Songs of Praise. Baruch she'amar v'hayahu olam baruch hu, praise be the one at whose command the world came to be. We praise you, our God, sovereign of the universe, worshipped by your people, lauded and glorified by those who love and serve you. With songs of praise we extol you and proclaim your sovereignty, sole source of the life of all worlds. We praise you, sovereign God, to whom all praise is due.
אשרי יושבי ביתך, או יחללוך אשרי שכחלו אשרי
From Psalm 145, Tehillah LeDavid. Aro mimcha Elohai HaMelech, v'racha shimcha le'olam va'ed, b'chol yom avaracheka, v'halala shimcha le'olam va'ed, gadol Adonai u'muhalal ma'od, v'ligdal atoin chekadol ado yashabach masecha, ugvoratecha yagidu, Hada kavod hodecha v'divrei neflotecha asicha v'ezuz nerotecha yomeru gedulatecha asaprena zekarav tevacha yabiu v'sidkatecha yeranenu chanun v'rachum Adonai erecha pa'emu gadol chesed. You are patient and abounding in love. Tov Adonai lakol, v'rachamahav al kol ma'asav. In your goodness, eternal God, you have mercy on all your creatures. Yoduch Adonai kol ma'asecha, v'chasidecha yevarachucha, kavod malchutecha yomeru, gvuratecha yedaberu, lohodia livnei hadam gvorotav, ukavod hadam malchuto, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor, somech Adonai l'chol hanoflim, v'zochef l'chol hachufufim, einei kol alecha yesaberu, v'ata noten et ochlam behito. Poteach et yadecha maspil l'chol hayratzon. Quietly you open your hand and satisfy the needs of every living creature. Sadik Adonai b'chol darachav, v'chasi b'chol ma'asav, korov Adonai l'chol korahav, u'l'chol asher yikra'uchu v'hemet. Ratzon yareyav ya'aseh, v'et shavatam yishma v'yoshiem. Tehillat Adonai yedaber pi, v'yorech kol basa shem kodsho le'olam va'ed.
ואנחנו נברך מעתה ועד עולם, הללויה.
And if If you turn please to page 135, we will continue with Yishtabach and Baruchu, page 135.
ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש, בשמיים ובארץ. כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו, אלוהי אבותינו, שיר ושבחה, הלל וזמרה, ברכות והודות מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בשירי זמרה.
Baruchu.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
And on 136, Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotze or uvarei choshech, oseh shalom uvarei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladarim alecha, barachamim, uvtuvo machadesh b'chol yom tamid, ma'aseh v'reshit. Marabu ma'asecha Adonai, v'lam b'hoch ma'asita mala ha'aretz kinyanecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, v'al ma'orei or she'asita, yifararucha sela, baruch ata Adonai, yotzeh ha'ma'orot. And please join me. Great is your love for us, eternal God, and abundant your compassion. Our ancestors trusted in you, and you taught them the laws of life. So be gracious to us and teach us. Incline our hearts to hear your words, to know and understand, to learn and teach, and with love to uphold the truths of your Torah. Enlighten us with your teaching. Make us faithful to your commandments and wholehearted in the love and awe of your name. For in love you summon us to serve you and proclaim your unity. We praise you, O God. In love you have called your people Israel to serve you.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Va'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha. V'hayu hadavarim ha'ele, asher anochi metzavacha hayom al levavecha. V'shenantam levanecha, v'dibata bam, v'shiftacha b'veitecha, v'leftecha v'derech, v'shochbaha u'v'chumecha. Kushatam la'ot al yadecha, v'hayu latotafot bein einecha, v'chatabtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvish arecha.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Rosemary, would you be kind enough to read the next prayer for us, please? Good and beautiful. You'll need to unmute.
Shall I attempt in Hebrew, or would you prefer me to read it in English?
I leave that to your discretion.
I'll try a little bit in Hebrew. Emet no, I'll do it in English. Good and beautiful and true, sound, established and enduring are these words, now and forever. True it is, Eternal One, that you are our sovereign God and Redeemer, as you were the God and Redeemer of our ancestors. You are our Maker, the rock of our salvation. We have known you always as our helper and our liberator. There is no God but you. Truly, you are first and you are last. We have no Redeemer but you. You redeemed us from Egypt and freed us from the house of bondage. Then with great joy, Moses, Miriam, and all Israel together sang to you this song.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תחילות עושי פלא, נורא תחילות עושי פלא. שירה חדשה שירים גולים לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צאו ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
And you're invited at this point to stand for the tefillah. Adonai, Sefatai tiftachu fi tehillah. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim B'Koneh HaKol, V'Zocher Hasdei Avot V'Imahot, Umevi Go'ela Livnei V'Neihem, Lama'an Shemo B'Yahava, Melech, Ozer, U'Mashiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Be'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Machaye Meitim, Atah Rav Lahoshia, Mashiv Haruach, Umorid Hageshem, Mazriach Hashemesh, Umorid Hatal, Machalkel Chayim B'Chesed, Machaye Meitim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Nofrim, V'Rofeh Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, Machayem Emunato L'Shenei Afa, Mi chamocha ba'al gevorot, umi domelach, melech meimitu machaye umatzmiach Yeshua, v'neman ata lachahayot meitim, baruch ata Adonai, machaye hametim. We sanctify your name on earth, as in the prophet's vision, the hosts of heaven sing your praise above, for so it is written.
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzavaot, Melo kol haaretz kavodo.
Kavodo male olam.
Baruch kavod Adonai mimkamo.
Mimkom hamalkenu tofia v'timloch aleinu, ki machakim anachnu lach.
Yimloch Adonai leolam, Elohai Yikzion, Ledov Ador, Hallelujah, Ledov Ador.
Yes, why not?
Join in, someone.
Yeah.
Ledovado,
Ledov Ador,
Ledovado,
Ledov Ador, Nagir Golecha, Ledov Ador,
Ledovado.
Ledov Ador.
Ledovado,
לטוב אדון נגיד כל לך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש קדושתך נקדיש בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד לטוב אדון
Ledovado,
לטוב אדון
Ledovado,
לטוב אדון נגיד כל לך לטוב אדון
Ledovado,
לטוב אדון
Ledovado,
לטוב אדון נגיד גודל לך ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
And please join me. You inspired our ancestors to hallow this day for your service. When upon its coming we pause to contemplate our life, we learn anew that we do not live by bread alone, but also by the spiritual nourishment we receive when we open ourselves to your influence. We thank you for the Sabbath day and for the opportunity it offers to enhance the quality of our lives. We thank you for its joy and for its peace. May our worship help us to take into our hearts its message of holiness and consecrate all our days by devotion to what is true, beautiful, and good.
ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג שבת מקדשי 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 שבי שבת כולם יספחו ויתענגו מטובך שבת בחשבי בצדית בו וקידשתו שבת עמדת ימים אותו קראת זכר למעשה בראשית שבת זכר למעשה בראשית שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
Our God and God of our ancestors, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us by your commandments and make us loyal to your teaching. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, eternal one, let the holiness of your Sabbath enter our hearts, and may all Israel who hallow your name be exalted by its peace. Baruch atah Adonai Makadesh HaShabbat. Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel, and in your love accept their prayers. May our worship now and always be acceptable in your sight. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otacha levadacha b'yira na'avod. Modim anachnu lach, she'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu le'olam va'ed. Sur chayenu magen yishenu atahu lador vador. Noda lacha unesaper tilatecha. Al chayenu humusumim biadecha. Va'al nishmotenu hapekudot lach. Va'al nisecha shebachol yom imanu. Va'al niflotecha v'tovatecha. Shebachol eit erev v'avoker v'sohorayim. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shemcha. Grant peace, welfare, and blessing, grace, love, and mercy to us and to all Israel, your people. As a loving parent, bless us with the light of your presence. For by the light of your presence, eternal God, you have revealed to us the law of life, a love of kindness and righteousness, blessing and mercy, life and peace. For it is good in your sight that your people Israel and all your peoples be blessed at all times with your gift of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, osei hashalom. A silent meditation.
Osei shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol bnei Adam. Osei shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol bnei Adam.
So, Tu B'Shvat, tomorrow evening. The new year for trees, the 15th of the month of Shabbat, supposed to be the time when the sap starts rising, though it was also a kind of a tax demarcation. The fruit after Tu B'Shvat was included in the tithes for the new year for trees that begins at this time. And the fruit harvested before was included with the previous year's produce. The festival was revived in the last century by the Jewish National Fund for planting trees in the land, but it's now become very much a Jewish eco-celebration. So we're going to bring Shabbat Shira and Tu B'Shvat together with a special theme and a little special music. And Joseph's going to lead us in the Yiddish song Auf den Weg steht a Bäum. On the road stands a tree.
Thanks very much, Michael. I'll put the words up on the screen. It's a very famous poem by Yitzhak Munger, and the music is by Shmuel Fisher, and the theme is a tree. Although I think it's really about growing up and childhood and parenthood and perhaps other things. And I'll let you to interpret it. If anyone who knows some
Quite
German
hard to hear you, Joseph.
Pardon?
Quite hard to hear you. You're a little bit.
Oh, I just moved away from the mic. Can you hear me now?
That's better.
Yeah, I was just leaning in a bit. That's all. Okay. Anyone who understands some German or some even some Hebrew will find lots of words there. But I will be sharing the screen right now. So let's try and do that. Everyone see that? Okay. Yeah, and I'll try and move it up as we go as best I can.
Auf dem Weg steht der Bäum, steht eingebeugen. Alle Vögel von dem Bäum seinen Sieg zu fliegen. 3 kein Maiv, 3 kein Misrach und die Resch kein Dorem. Und dem Bäum gelost allein, hefker fahr die Sturm. Sag ich zu dem Mammen, Herr, soll's mir noch nicht sterben, weil ich Mama 1 und 2 bald a Vogel wären. Ich will sitzen auf den Bäum und will ihm verwiegen, eben Winter mit der Trist, mit der schönen Nigen. Ja, da di 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 da. Ja, da di da di da di da di da di da da di da. Sagt die Mama, nicht der Kind, und sie wendet mit Tränen. West Halila auf den Bäumen mehr verfreuen werden. Sag ich, Mama, sie ist schuld, deine schönen Augen. Und der was und der wenn, bin ich mehr ein Vogel. Wenn die Mama jetzt sich rein sehe, Gottes Willen, nehm sich mit der Schalikel, kennst euch sich noch verkehlen. Die Kaloschen tu sich on, es geht ein scharfer Winter, und die Kuschmer nehm euch mit, weh ist mir und Wind mir. Ja, da di 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 da. Ja, da di da di da di da di da di da di da. Und das Winterlabel nimm, tu es on, du Schafter, ob du willst nicht sein kein Gast zwischen alle Teuter. Heb die Fliegel, sie ist mir schwer, zu viel sagen. Hat die Mama angetan, ihr Fegele dem Schwachen. Guck ich treurig mir rein in meine Mamas Augen. Es hat die Liebschaft nicht gelost, wären mir ein Vogel. Auf den Weg steht der Bäum, steht Herr eingebeugen. Alle Vögel von den Bäumen seinen Sieg zerfleugen. Ja, ta di 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 ja da 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 da. Ja, ta di da di da di da di da di da. Ja, da da da.
Thank you, Joseph. And could I invite you please to turn to page 403. That's 403. at the foot of the page, 403. Once, when the Roman Emperor Hadrian was walking along one of the paths that led to Tiberias, he saw an old man digging trenches to plant saplings of fig trees. "How old are you?" the emperor asked him, and he answered, 100 years. "You are 100 years old," said Hadrian, "yet you are digging trenches to plant saplings of fig trees. Do you ever hope to eat of them?" And then the old man replied, "If I am worthy, I shall eat. But even if not, as my ancestors worked for my benefit, so I will work for the benefit of my children." Many trees live longer than people do. And it's a thought that certainly reminds us, when we see a very old tree, of the previous generations that might have passed beneath it. The following prayer is recited when trees are planted in the land of Israel. "Eternal God, take pleasure in your land and bestow on it the goodness of your grace. Let it be blessed with dew, and may bountiful rains fall in their season to bring moisture to Israel's hills and valleys, so as to water every plant and tree, and these saplings which we plant before you this day. May their roots grow deep, and their crowns spread wide, that they may blossom gracefully among all the trees of Israel, for blessing and for beauty. Grant strength to all who labor, to revive the sacred soil, and make its deserts blossom. Bless, O God, their efforts, and look favorably upon the work of their hand. Barech Adonai Chelam. Ufa'al Yadam Tirtzeh." And we're now going to have another song, Ilan, Ilan, a tree, a tree.
And this is a text from the Talmud. It's really beautiful. This setting only sets the beginning and the end of the text, but you'll see it all on the screen now.
Ilan, 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 b'ma avarechecha. Ilan, 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 b'ma avarechecha. Yehi ratzon, Yehi ratzon, שכל נטיעות שנותנים ממך יהיו כמותך. יהי רצון שכל נטיעות שנותנים ממך יהיו כמותך. אילן, 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 במה אברכך. אילן, 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 במה
Thank you, Joseph. And as we move into our Torah service, it's worth reminding ourselves that Torah is also likened to a tree. The phrase Eitz Chayim Chi. It is a tree of life to those who grasp it. I'm going to read a little poem which is by Rabbi David Zaslow on this theme. Of every Torah, we say, she is a tree of life. There are some who say every tree is a Torah too, meant to be read. We pass one by, stop, kiss and chant each portion of her a week at a time, ring by ring, a year at a time, and then begin again. And when we're done, each week we sing, return us to as it once was and will be, to a place in the east where the ancient future of Kedem greets us now. Of every Torah we say, she is a tree of life, Eitz Chaim Chi, and some say every tree is a Torah too. So with that, let's turn to our Torah service, Kriyat HaTorah, page 481, 481.
אין כמוך ואלוהים אדוני ואין כמעשיך מלכותך מלכות כל העולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור אדוני מלך אדוני מלך Adonai imlok leolam va'ed Adonai oz le'amo yiten Adonai yivareg et amo v'shalom
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadlul Adonai iti, Ramama Shemo Yachdav.
L'cha Adonai, Hagdula, V'Hagavura, V'Hatiferet, V'Hanetzav V'Chachot, V'Hanetzav V'Chachot, Ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. L'cha Adonai ha'mamlecha v'mitnaseh l'chol l'rosh.
In our readings this morning, we celebrate two of the greatest women in our biblical tradition, both described in the text as a Neviah, a prophetess. The first one in the Torah reading is the prophetess Miriam, and the second one in the Haftarah is the prophetess Deborah. The great song which the Israelites sung after crossing the sea has some strange word endings which are thought to be Old Hebrew. Most scholars think that the poems in the Torah are source material around which the prose narratives were composed. But even so, I think this particular poem is a lot more recent than the date of the legendary events it describes. It not only looks back to the death of the Egyptian chariots, the death of the Egyptian horsemen, and the drowning of their chariots in the sea, but it looks forward to what is going to come starting 40 years later after the wanderings in the desert. Battles against the chiefs of Edom, the mighty men of Moab, even the Philistines, and even at the end, a phrase which sounds like the establishment of the temple. At the end, we're told Miriam and the women sung too. There's one little difference between the song the men sang and the song the women sung. Miriam's song seems to have an urgency to it. The men's Shirat Hayam begins, Az Yashim Moshe, which literally means then Moses will sing. I normally translate it as then Moses began to sing, because the future tense doesn't make a lot of sense. But Miriam's song is written in the present sense, urgently, in the plural imperative, Shiru Ladonai, sing to God now. So I'm going to call up Alan, who's going to recite the blessings and read the translation. Ya'amod Ya'amod, Likro B'Torah, Avraham ben Ruven.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamavorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam. Asher b'chabanu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Screen share's not working.
We can't actually see the text, Kevin. That's got the header at the moment.
It should be here. Let's try something else. Bear with me.
Do I take over, Kevin?
You take over. That's why I've got you here. Yep. Okay, if you don't mind, Alan. And how far should Alan read down to?
We're going to go down to verse 21. So we start at Exodus 15, verse 1, and we go to verse 21.
Can you see it now?
Yep, that's fine. Thank you again, Stephen.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Moses and the Israelites sang this song to the Lord. They said, I will sing to the Eternal One, for he has triumphed gloriously. Horse and driver he has hurled into the sea. The Eternal One is my strength and might. He has become my deliverance. This is my God, and I will enshrine him, the God of my father, and I will exalt him. The Eternal One, the warrior, Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his army he has cast into the sea, and the pick of his officers are drowned in the sea of reeds. The deeps cover them. They went down into the depths like a stone. Your right hand, O Lord, glorious in power. Your right hand, O Lord, shatters the foe. In your great triumph, you break your opponents. You send forth your fury. It consumes them like straw. At the blast of your nostrils, the waters piled up. The floods stood straight like a wall. The deeps froze in the heart of the sea. The foe said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. My desire shall have its fill of them. I will bear my sword, my hand shall subdue them. You made your wind blow, the sea covered them. They sank like lead in the majestic waters. Who is like you, O Lord, among the celestials? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders? You put out your right hand, the earth swallowed them. In your love, you lead the people you redeemed. In your strength, you guide them to your holy abode. The peoples hear, they tremble. Agony grips the dwellers in Philistia. Now are the clans of Edom dismayed, the tribes of Moab. Trembling grips them. All the dwellers in Canaan are aghast. Terror and dread descend upon them. Through the might of your arm, they are still as stone. Till your people cross over, O Lord, till your people cross, whom you have ransomed. You will bring them and plant them in your own mountain, the place you made to dwell in, O Lord, the sanctuary, O Lord, which your hands established. The Lord will reign forever and ever. For the horses of Pharaoh with his chariots and horsemen went into the sea, and the Lord turned back on them the waters of the sea, but the Israelites marched on dry ground in the midst of the sea. Then Miriam the prophetess, Aaron's sister, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her in dance with timbrels. And Miriam chanted for them, "Sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. Horse and driver he has hurled into the sea."
That's it. Thank you. Back up to the beginning. Az Yashir Moshe Uvnei Yisrael et hashira hazar ladonai v'yomru le'mor hashir aladonai ki gaha sus v'rochavo rama v'yam ozi v'zimrat ya v'hili l'shua zeli ve'avehu Elohei avi aroma menhu Adonai ish milchama Adonai shemo makavod paro v'chelo yaravayam umivhash alishav tubu v'yam suf tohomot yachasyumu yadu vinsalot kamo haven Yemincha Adonai nedare bakoach Yemincha Adonai tirat soyev uvarov kanacha taharos chamecha teshalach charonacha yochalemu kakash uvaru achapecha nemu mayim nitzvu kamone nozlim kafu tahomot belev yam ama oyev edof hasik Alik shalal timlaemo nafshi Arik harbi torshemo yadi Nashaftaha v'ruchaha kisamo yam Salalu koferet b'mayim adirim Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi chamocha neda b'kodesh Nora tehilot asefele Natita yeminacha Tivlaemo haaretz nachita b'chazdacha Amzu ga'alta necha chaltacha ba'ozacha El neve kodshesh Hashamu amin yigazun hilachaz yoshvei palash et haz nifhalo alufedom elei moav yochazei morad namogu kodesh vechena antipol alehem ematam vafachad bigdol zeruachach nidmu ka'aven had ya'avo amcha Adonai ad ya'avo amzu kanita teviemo v'titaemo B'cha nachalatacha machon shiptacha pahalta Adonai mikdash Adonai kamamu yadecha Adonai imloch leolam vahed Adonai imloch Leolam vaed ki vasus paro berichbo ufarashav bayam vayashev Adonai alehem et mei hayam uvnei Yisrael halchu vayabasha b'toch hayam vatikach Miriam hanivia achot Aharon et hatof biyada vatetsena chol hanashim acharecha betupim Uvim cholot, vata'an lahem Miriam, shiru ladonai, ki go aga'a, sus, v'rochvo, rama, vayam.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'hayei olam natah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Shakoya Chalam, thank you so much. Beautifully read, and Shabbat Shalom to you. Now, our Haftarah comes from Judges chapter 4, verses 1 to 15. Although we imagine that Joshua and his troops conquered the whole of the land, the book of Judges describes fighting against the various Canaanite tribes that went on for another 400 years. Here we have the story of Deborah, one of the early judges after the death of Joshua, which is also celebrated by a song. But this morning we're just going to read the prose part of the story and not the song which comes afterwards.
Rania, can you see the screen okay?
Yeah.
Yes, I'll do my best. And I'm sorry, I wanted to read the, sorry, I got confused, but my Hebrew won't be that great for the,
do it in English if you're more comfortable.
Yeah, but I'll try. I want to try. Okay. So sorry, it's not great. I just want to say. Baruch ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, sur kol haolamim, tzadik bechol.
Anya?
Yes?
You're saying the prayer after the reading.
Sorry.
That's funny. That's funny. We love it. You're wishing it the servant away. And after this, we'll sing a Don't Long and we can go home. Okay, so it's in the middle of the page.
Oh dear, sorry about it. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar bin bineim tovim veratza bedivrehem anehemarim beemet. Baruch atah Adonai, abocher batorah uvmoshe avdo uvisrael amo uvinevi'e ha'emet vatzedek. The Israelites again did what was offensive to the Lord, Ehud now being dead, and the Lord surrendered them to King Jabin of Canaan, who reigned in Hazor. His army commander was Sisera, whose base was Aroshet Goim. The Israelites cried out to the Lord, for he had 900 iron chariots, and he had oppressed Israel ruthlessly for 20 years. Deborah, wife of Lapidot, was a prophetess. She led Israel at that time. She used to sit under the palm of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim, and the Israelites will come to her for decisions. She summoned Barak, son of Abinoam, of Kadesh in Naphtali, and said to him, "The Lord, the God of Israel, has commanded, go, march up to Mount Tabor, and take with you 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zebulun. And I will draw Sisera, Jabin's army commander, with his chariots and his troops towards you, up to the Wadi Kishon, and I will deliver him into your hands." But Barak said to her, "If you will go with me, I will go. If not, I will not go." "Very well, I will go with you," she answered. "However, there will be no glory for you in the course you are taking, for then the Lord will deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman. So Deborah went with Barak to Kadesh. Barak then mustered Zebulun and Naphtali at Kadesh. 10,000 men marched up after him, and Deborah also went up with him. Now, Heber the Kenite has separated from the other Kenites, descendants of Hobab, father-in-law of Moses, and had pitched his tent at Elon Bezananim, which is near Kadesh. Sisera was informed that Barak, son of Abinoam, had gone up to Mount Tabor. So Sisera ordered all his chariots, 900 iron chariots, and all the troops he had to move from Haroshet Goyim to the woody Kishon. Then Deborah said to Barak, "Up! This is the day on which the Lord will deliver Sisera into your hands. The Lord is marching before you." Barak charged down Mount Tabor, followed by the 10,000 men. And the Lord threw Sisera and all his chariots and army into a panic before the onslaught of Barak. Sisera leaped from his chariot and fled on foot. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, tzadik bechol adorot, ha'el hane'eman, haomer, ve'oseh המדבר ומקיים שכל דבריו אמת וצדק על התורה ועל עבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה לכבוד ולתפארת על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. Rania, your Hebrew's better than mine. Don't worry about it.
Thank you, Rania. That was really, really good. Just to mention that the selection by Liberal Judaism rather coyly breaks off before the climax of the story, which is when the woman warrior Yael, not an Israelite, but from the family of Moses' father-in-law, old allies, she brings milk to Captain Sisera, and then when he's asleep, hammers a tent peg into the side of his head and kills him. It's a savage act, and I don't know anything in the Bible quite like it, which is done by a woman warrior. But that bit we didn't have for reasons of, I suppose, propriety, as it's called. So we're going to come on now to our community prayers. Please, Brigitte, George, and Maureen, and we're back in the book, page 484.
Eternal God, whose dominion embraces the universe, we ask your blessing for our sovereign lady, Queen Elizabeth, and all the royal family, for those who govern our country and all who influence the quality of its national life. Make them conscious of their responsibility and teach them to exercise it in accordance with your will. May we all help to fashion in this country a society that excels in freedom and justice, tolerance and compassion, so it may be a force for righteousness and peace in the life of humanity.
Eternal God, as you blessed our ancestors in generations past, bless now this virtual congregation, its leaders and its members, and all who enter this virtual synagogue spread throughout the country and beyond to study and to pray. Comfort the sorrowing hearts among us and heal those in anxiety or pain. May we all find here community and friendship, a renewal of purpose and hope, a deeper understanding of our heritage, and a sense of your abiding presence. Bless all congregations of the House of Israel throughout the world, that those who live under oppressive rule soon be freed, and may we all unite to witness to God, to your truth, and to do your will.
You're muted, Maureen.
Eternal God, our rock and redeemer, grant blessing to the state of Israel, created to fulfill an age-old dream and to be a haven for the oppressed. Inspire its leaders and citizens with faithfulness to the aims of its founders, to develop the land for the benefit of all its inhabitants, and to implement the prophetic ideals of liberty and justice. May they live in harmony with one another and in peace with their neighbours, and cause to come true once more the ancient vision that out of Zion shall go forth Torah and the word of God from Jerusalem. Amen.
Shekoyach, thanks to you all. Shabbat Shalom and long life to Brigitte. We now come to a prayer for healing when we feel vulnerable. We need the comfort of our community. Let us think of all those we know who are unwell at this time, and you're invited to unmute yourself and mention any names of people you're thinking of right now.
My nephew Simon Lubert, who has been through, somebody else speaking? No. My nephew Simon Lubert, who's finished his treatment for cancer but caught COVID, so he's now struggling with COVID. So my thoughts are really with him. I hope he gets over this awful phase that he's been through.
Michelle Machowski in Washington, a cousin marriage, who has gone through a very serious operation.
My friend Soba, my friend Amy, and the father of my friend, Daniel, the father of my friend, Abby.
I'll mention, as always, my mother-in-law, Mabel, who's really enjoyed the service from her bedside and has laughed at some of the bits appropriately as well. And also probably one of my closest friends, Simone, who's caught COVID for the third time and is really struggling with it.
So let us think of all those we have named and those we have not named, and let us think too of those who are looking after them and ask for strength for them too. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. Bless all those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. and let us say Amen.
I should have included in that just a few members of our community who are having extreme difficulties. Jeanette Schindler and Ruth Eva Fiegel. At the moment, they're particularly in our thoughts.
Rania's trying to say something, but you're muted, Rania.
And Gina Greenglass, I think. Yeah.
Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Rafeh Chacholim. Praise be to God who brings healing. And on page 486, Yahalelu et Shem Adonai ki niskab shemo levado.
Oh, I've changed the sound by mistake.
Hado aleretz v'shamayim v'yarim kerem le'amo tehila l'chol chasidav livnei Yisrael am karov. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
And please turn to page 489 for the conclusion of our Torah service.
Ki lekach tov natati lachem torati al tazovu etz hayim chi l'machazikim bo v'tomechecha me'usha torachecha ta'enom b'chol netivotecha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashua Chadesh yameinu k'kedem Chadesh yameinu k'kedem
Being with you this morning, thinking of so many who are unwell and also of those who are passed away. I'm reflecting that my sister Rosemary had her confirmation in the community more than 50 years ago. It leads me to reflect that faith communities and faith allegiances offer more continuity in our lives than just about anything else. As we go through life, even the members of our close family change as people come and go. But for those of us fortunate to have Jewish memories from earliest childhood, those memories can remain with us and inspire us and give us an awareness of the true meaning of community. As Rabbi Lionel Blue, may his memory be for a blessing, once put it, this is all part of the mighty life from which we come, the hidden life to which we go, the gentle life which feeds our body, mind and soul, which leads us to peace and goodness, to be at one with God. Last Sunday, I tuned into a remarkable webinar from Israel about the bird flu crisis there. Unfortunately, cranes who flock together into the Agamon Park, Hula in northern Israel, have been dying in droves. We were shown a video of people in protective clothing having to wade through the shallow waters to remove the bodies of up to 5,000 large birds to try and contain the virus a little, because flu virus can live in water for months and be caught by birds drinking the water. The bird flu crisis is also big in the Netherlands, Denmark and Scotland, though we hear very little about it. Israel is the world's crossroads for migrating birds, and many millions come through twice a year. Birds, of course, know no political boundaries. But there is a rather controversial part of the story of the bird flu in Israel. The cranes living in that water are very overcrowded. Sometimes there are up to 35,000 of them in a not very large area. And they manage because there are organizations who look after them and provide them with food. But why can't they forage naturally as birds do? Well, what happened is that back in the 1950s, in the early years of the state, Israel drained the Hula Valley to get more farmland. It is perhaps the worst eco-decision in Israel's history, so much so that in 1992 they reflooded a small area of it, and the water birds started to return. But about that time in the 1990s, local farmers abandoned the growing of cotton in favor of corns and peanuts. And if there's one thing cranes absolutely love, it's peanuts. At first, the farmers were fascinated by the cranes, but less so as the numbers grew year by year and they were losing their crops. The only solution was to start an official feeding program, using mainly corn, and that's why there are so many birds there in an area less than the natural lake area would have been. We really do live in an Anthropocene era, as it's been called, when people control nature. And that's a major part of our problem, and one that requires a lot of thought. I think we need to expand the idea of Tu B'Shvat, so it's not only about trees and fruit, but about our whole climate crisis. And that's why I'm involved with the planning of a conference to be held in Oxford for Jews, Christians, and Muslims, taking place at the end of March, which we are calling God, Creation, and Us, from theology to action. All our scriptures and traditions have lots of passages urging us to look after the environment, as indeed Chief Rabbi Mervis of the United Synagogue highlights in this week's Jewish Chronicle. But the fact that we have these traditions doesn't, of course, mean we do the right things. In fact, green issues are unique in the way we all support them, but we don't actually ever do enough. But in a world where 4 out of 5 people have a religious faith or allegiance, anybody, all of us who have a faith leadership world, have a real duty now to develop a theology of change which will help each and every one of us make the changes we need to get through the climate crisis. One of the theological leaders of the movement to work on climate change is Karenna Gore, daughter of the former US Vice President Al Gore. And she puts it like this: the concept of dominion from our Abrahamic faiths has been confused with dominance. The voice of the earth speaks truth to us, and yet we resist its message. We are not on the way because people don't recognize this is all about values and belief systems. Unfortunately, the birds who are dying of flu and the spread of pandemics are actually symptoms of our overdominance and the overcrowding of humans in our world. And many people think the wild birds are catching the bird flu from poultry, which are kept in very inhumane conditions. Inhumane isn't quite right for an animal, but you know what I mean. And we all have to wake up and listen to what events around us are telling us. So I noticed that the Mosaic community will be celebrating Tu B'Shvat with the Woodland Trust tomorrow. And may this particular celebration this year lead us all to do more to protect our world. So we come on to the Aleinu now, which is on page 520. 520.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית. השם שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומשב יקרו בשמיים ממעל. ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו. ככתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום להשוות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד.
And we go to V'ne'emar.
ונאמר וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Life is finite. Like a candle, it burns, it glows, it is radiant with warmth and beauty, and then it fades. Its substance is consumed, and it is no more. Yet we do not despair, for we know that we are more than a flickering flame. With our lives, we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and light, of death and life. As we name our loved ones, we pray that the divine presence will comfort us and all who mourn. And we think of those from our community and their families who passed away at this time in years past. Maurice Butler, the uncle of Brigitte Levin, Archie Cole, the grandfather of Celia Hipgrave, Matilda Feigl, the grandmother of Gideon Feigl, Charles Gilbert, the father of Shirley Heffetz, Jenny Golding, the wife of Victor Golding, Eleanor Haberman, the wife of Michael Haberman, Abraham Zeidel, the father of Brigitte Levin, and Rosemary Hilton, my sister. Zikronam Livracha. May their memories be for a blessing, and may all who mourn find comfort. Kaddish is on page 524. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah. Ba'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'hayechon v'yamechon v'chayei d'kol Beit Yisrael. V'gala v'zman kari v'yimru amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mavarach. La'alam la'almei almaya. Yit barach v'yish tabach v'yit pa'a v'yit rumam. V'yit naseh v'yit hada v'yit aleh. V'talal shemedi kudesha barechu. V'ela min kol bechata v'sherata. Tush bechata v'nechamata. Tamiran ba'alma v'yimru amen. V'hei shlaba rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Osei shalom b'mroma. Pwy asell. Aleinu fel kol Israel fel kol b'nai Adam. B'imru. Amen. So we're going to finish on an upbeat note this morning.
We're not going to finish yet because I'd like to make a few announcements.
Please do. Whenever.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. First, I'd like to wish Michael and Brigitte long life and strength as you remember your loved ones. And I'd also like to offer a massive thank you to Michael for leading our service this morning. It's always a pleasure when you actually do lead the service and you give us a lot to sort of take away, and also if you're singing as well. Beautiful, I thought it was beautiful how you read the Torah, and just the theme, sort of two sort of contrasting themes of the longevity with the trees, the inspiration of that, but then a bit of a wake-up call regarding our bird population. A lot for us to take away. So thank you very much, Michael. And also Joseph, gosh, there's no end to your talents. German as well. We've had meetings in all different languages, but that was brilliantly done, Joseph, and obviously the singing throughout. So thank you very much. Right, future services next week. Oh, Joseph, sorry, I was just thinking, yeah, we'll be in person at the Avanti Centre. We'll be announcing it. Again, please contact me or Adrian beforehand if you're going, just so that we can know how to manage the numbers best. So we look forward to that. And Felicity will be singing with you, is that right, Joseph? So that's something to really look forward to. And it's our turn. I believe Gwendolyn will be Gwendolyn will be taking our Friday night service this week as well, joint with Reform. Now, hopefully my screen share is going to work. It seems to have a mind of its own, but luckily I've got Stephen as my safety net. Hopefully you can see that, everyone. Thumbs up from at least one person to reassure me. Thank you. Right, as mentioned by Michael, Tu Bishvat, we've got the Woodland Trust. So it's about the magic of trees. Trees is a really interesting subject if you want to branch out your knowledge. And it will give, like, obviously a very engaging speech with some of the themes that Michael mentioned during this service. And obviously you can see the Zoom link. And on Tuesday, meet the Space Doctor. Dr. Inspel, that sounds interesting with NASA. I'm sure there'll be some good atmosphere there. So you'll be welcome to join those Zooms as well. It's all on the website. Or finally, Tim Torah, that's back with a vengeance, and one of our rabbis will be leading an alternative, I'd say, study session on some of the themes of the Torah. So I'm done for announcements. Anyone? Alan, Stephen, anyone else got any announcements?
No more.
Right, so now we're ready for the concluding hymn. And don't worry, Brigitte, I'm going to get my Kiddush wine whilst the hymn's going on. I know you're very nervous.
Would you like to introduce it, Joseph?
I will, yes. As well as Tu B'Shvat, probably not coincidentally, this is wassail season, and in England, the sort of folk tradition, if you like, of pouring beer or apple juice onto trees and blessing them and hoping that they will prove bounteous for the year to come. I've done this before, so we're going to sing a wassail song as appropriate for Tu B'Shvat and wassail, and then we will then go into Adon Olam using the same tune. Okay, so I'm going to put the words up on the screen with the wassail song, and then we'll go into Adon Olam with the same tune. Okay.
O apple tree, we wassail thee, and hope that thou wilt bear. For the Lord doth know where we shall be till apples another year. For to bloom well and to bear well, so merry let us be. Let every man take off his hat and shout to the old apple tree. And this is spoken, O apple tree, we wassail thee, and hope that thou wilt bear hatfuls, capfuls, 3 bushel bagfuls, and a little heap under the stairs. Hip, hip,
Hooray! And then we'll go into Adon Olam with the same tune.
Adon Olam Hashem Allah בטרם כל יציר נברא לעד נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי כגלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא אחד ואין שני לחם שלו לחכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז וכמזרע והוא אלי וחי גולי וצוחב לי בעת צרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא ויעדו אבקיד רוחי בעת אישן ואירה ואם רוחי גבייתי אדוני לי ולא אירה.
Let us ask for God's blessing, and not this morning with words of Torah, but rather with a famous passage from Proverbs, Eitz Chaim Chi Lamachazikim Ba. It is a tree of life to those who grasp it. Words which were taken to describe the Torah. Kilecha Tov. No, that's not the one. Eitz Chaim Hi Lamachazikim Ba, B'tomochecha Me'usha. And those who hold fast to it are happy. Darachecha Darchei Noam. Its ways are ways of pleasantness. V'chol netivotecha shalom. And all its paths are peace. Shabbat shalom.
Amen to that, and Shabbat shalom. Thank you again. Okay, so if some people do need time just to get themselves organised.
Yeah.
For Kiddush now, maybe Paul Hart, have you got a challah or wine, or are you happy to lead Kiddush or leave it to someone else?
Can I lead someone else? I'm not prepared.
Okay, fair enough. So I do like springing surprises. What about the Zatzes or not? Yep, is that a yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Okay. Well, perhaps I don't know if you want to do the Kiddush prayer or just do the blessings.
Yep.
What, the Kiddush prayer and the blessings, or just the blessings?
What's the Kiddush prayer?
On page, Michael, do you want to direct?
Page.
Well, we'll sing it together. Why don't we sing it all together, the Kiddush prayer, and you do the blessings for the wine and the challah? Is that okay?
Yeah, fine.
It's 564, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, 564.
So everyone turn to 564.
Oh, that's the evening one. The morning one is on 566.
Is everyone on 566? I'm just trying to find it in my setup. Okay. Go ahead, everybody. Are we going to sing it? Shomru?
If we want people to sing together, everyone will need to unmute.
Yeah, exactly. We know, we accept it's going to be unsynchronized. That is a given. Yeah. But hey, I just like the idea of the whole community being together in some way in noise. So go for it. Well, you can lead us into it, Michael.
V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et Hashem Sheshit Yamim Asa Adonai et Hashamayim et Haaretz V'yom Shabbat v'nafal Kein beirach Adonai et Yom HaShabbat v'yikadshehu.
Right, the blessing for the wine. God does that just lead us into it. Amen. L'chaim. And Hamotzi, you got some colour, Pat?
Yeah.
Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you, Kate. Michael,
Thank you very much. Thank you. Lovely service. Thank you.
One of my Zoom hobbies is looking at people's bookcases, and yours is one of the most tidiest I've ever seen.
Well, you see, this is a great optical illusion that you could do with Zoom. This study is actually a complete tip. The only bit that is tidy is the bit that you can actually see. Now, if I were to move my camera around, which I'm not going to do, you would see all the mess that is everywhere.
I prefer mess.
Michael,
Oh,
I do remember Rosemary.
Thank you, Alison.
Yes.
Thank you. You were a great friend to her.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a yard site.
Yeah, she died on the 14th, and the yard site this year is on the 15th.
Oh, I see.
And Michael, it's Alan. I wish you long life as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I wish you long life.
Thank you.
And of course, Brigitte as well.
Thank you.
Wish you long life. Thank you very much, Michael, and Shabbat Shalom to you, and wish you long life. And you, Brigitte.
And
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Stephen, behind the scenes. What is Manya flashing?
Brigitte, would you long life?
Got badges.
Love your planet.
I love your planet.
I'll read the other one.
Can't read the pink one, but we.
Green on pink does not come through well on Zoom.
Plant a tree. Plant a tree and love your planet.
Ah, okay.
Ah, very good.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Bye.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
And I'm getting Olivia's got an app on her phone that says what a tree is. So we go for a walk. That actually says on the phone what the tree is.
Oh, that's very good.
So she can make out she's really knowledgeable. So that's. But I don't think it'd work on Joseph's backdrop.
Thank you.
Lovely, isn't it?
Thanks, Michael. It's very nice to work with you.
Anyway, thank you. Shabbat shalom.
And we hope to see you again, whether on Zoom or even in real life. Who knows?
Yeah, we hope so. Before too long now.
Yeah, that's what they said this time last year. But anyway,
All the best.
thank you. And
All the best,
echoes on.
Kevin.
Pardon?
All the best.
Yeah. How's your mother?
She's fine. She sends the best wishes.
Yeah. So give her a kiss for me.
Yeah.
Tell her I'm still her toy boy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, you're not sure about it. But I'll give her a ring soon. Okay.
Yeah.
Take care. Okay. Thank you. Bye, Rania. Thank you for your